Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Heather Bowser. I'm a 38-year-old mother, wife, and activist. I'm here as a representative of the second generation of Agent Orange victims around the world, and especially and specifically the United States. I was born with disabilities associated with my father's exposure to Agent Orange. My father was drafted into the U.S. military and served during the Vietnam War from 1968 to 1969. He was stationed around Benoit at the U.S. military base named Long Binh. During his first few hours in Vietnam, he was made to fight a chemical fire without any protection. There were many other times he would come into contact with herbicides throughout his time in Long Binh. I was born in 1972, 2 months premature. My mother had already suffered 2 miscarriages before I was born. I weighed only 3 pounds and 4 ounces. I am missing my right leg below the knee, several of my fingers, and the big toe on my left foot, and my remaining toes were webbed. Doctors told my parents they were unsure if I would survive. They were afraid that I would be mentally retarded. My father suffered greatly due to his exposure, not only physically, but also emotionally. After the war, he soon developed hypertension. After finding out about Agent Orange, he blamed himself for my birth defects. He worried greatly for me. He wondered if I would ever marry or have healthy children. My father worked as a laborer in a steel mill. One day he wasn't feeling well. He thought he had pneumonia. At the hospital, he was told he would need emergency heart bypass surgery. He was only 38 years old. He had 5 bypasses on his heart. At age 40, he developed diabetes. At age 48, he had a stroke. And at age 50, he died of a massive heart attack. He never met his grandchildren. Agent Orange has destroyed the health of many men and women here in Vietnam, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Guam, and other reaches of the globe. It has and it continues to destroy families and deform and kill innocent children. Every morning when I put on my artificial legs, I think about the people who made the decision to spray 20 million gallons of herbicide in Southeast Asia. Their decision personally affects me every day of my life. As a child growing up, I carried the burden of being different from my peers. I endured ridicule, teasing, and being left out. I watched my parents struggle to put food on the table after my dad's heart surgery, which financially devastated them. I watched my mother cry when she came home to a bag of groceries on her front steps from a charity. I heard my dad painfully tell me if I had known I was taking my children to war with me, I would have dodged the draft. I watched my beloved father's health deteriorate, and the U.S. government consistently denied his ill health was a result of his exposure to Agent Orange. I watched at his funeral when the United States flag that covered his coffin was folded and given to my mother. Such senseless tragedy. The children of Vietnam face the same senseless tragedy in their lives. They, like me, had no input on the political climate in the early 1960s. But they, like myself, must carry the burden of decisions made 50 years ago. The generations since the war have been unfairly marked by tragedy. The children of Vietnam face an uncertain future as a result of birth defects, ill health, poverty, and the 28 environmental hotspots still plaguing the countryside. They are innocent victims, and they deserve better. I would like to ask the International Committee to begin pushing their constituents for DNA research for the offspring affected by Agent Orange. Current technology should be utilized as soon as possible to help the offspring prepare for what lies ahead as they age. I would also suggest researchers study the explosion of cases of autism in the United States, Korea, and around the world in the grandchildren of those exposed to Agent Orange. Thank you for your time today. My name is Heather Bowser, and I am a second-generation victim of Agent Orange. Thank you.
Heather, thank you so much for sharing your personal life situation with us, and it brings us back to what many children and many families go through and makes it clear to us what we're working for. I'm asking the next speaker to come, which is Catherine Can Pham, a Vietnamese American activist.
Nobody's going to disagree with
Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Can Pham from the United States, and I'm very honored to be here to speak with you today. Thank you, Heather, for speaking for me. Just like all the other people that have spoken, I've been very moved by the stories of suffering that people have experienced as a result of Agent Orange from around the world. I work with an organization called